You know, when October rolls around, we all start thinking about the pink ribbon and the fight against breast cancer. But today, we're going to go beyond the ribbon and talk about a hidden connection between this disease and something a lot of us do, maybe even every day.
So it's October, right? And you see them everywhere, the pink ribbons. And for a very good reason. That ribbon has become this incredibly powerful symbol. It gets us talking about the important stuff, screening, early diagnosis, and all the amazing new treatments for breast cancer. It's a really vital, life-saving effort.
But what if I told you that one of the biggest and, importantly, most controllable risk factors just isn't really part of that big public conversation? What if it's something that for many of us is just a normal part of life, something we do without a second thought?
Okay, so there's this group, the International Agency for Research on Cancer, or IARC, and they have a special category for things with the absolute strongest evidence of causing cancer in people. They call them Group 1 carcinogens. Now, this list includes things we all know are dangerous, right? Like asbestos, tobacco. It also includes alcohol. The science is totally clear on this. Alcohol is a proven carcinogen.
And that brings us to this really critical point from public health experts. You know how with some things, moderation is the key? Well, when we're talking specifically about cancer risk, there is just no safe dose of alcohol. Every single drink increases that risk. So how quickly does that risk start to show up? Honestly, the data is pretty startling. The risk for breast cancer starts to go up with just one alcoholic drink per day. And that's a level that, let's be honest, a lot of people would consider totally normal, maybe even low. So what does this actually look like in the real world? Well, if you imagine 100 women with breast cancer, studies suggest that for about 8 of them, their cancer is directly linked to drinking alcohol. To put that in perspective, in a country like the United States, that was estimated to be around 14,000 new cases in 2020 alone. This is not some tiny insignificant factor. And hey, let's just clear up a really common myth. A lot of us think that maybe wine is healthier than beer, or that liquor is worse than wine. But here's the thing. When it comes to cancer risk, your body doesn't care about the packaging. It's the ethanol, the alcohol itself that does the damage. The type of drink just doesn't matter. It's all about how much you drink overall. And this is the logical next question, isn't it? We know there's a link, but why? What's actually going on inside our bodies? How does a simple drink end up raising the risk for such a complicated disease? Well, from a scientific standpoint, alcohol basically launches a three-pronged attack. First, it messes with your hormones. It can raise estrogen levels, and that can actually fuel the growth of some types of breast cancer. Second, when your body breaks down alcohol, it creates this toxic chemical called acetaldehyde, and that stuff can directly damage the DNA in your cells. And finally, it gets in the way of your body absorbing key nutrients like folate, which are supposed to help protect your cells. So here's the thing that's just wild to me. The science, the biology, the population studies, it's all incredibly strong. Scientists are very clear on this connection. But what's really shocking is the massive gap between what science knows and what the public knows. And the scale of this awareness gap is just staggering. Take the United States, for example. An incredible 3 out of every 4 women have no idea that alcohol is a risk factor for breast cancer. 3 out of 4. And this is definitely not just an American problem. A study that looked at 14 different countries in Europe found an even bigger blind spot. Almost 80% of women there were unaware of the connection. Hopping over to Canada, the numbers get a little better, but still, more than 40% of people are completely in the dark. That's millions of people making choices every day without this really critical piece of health information. And finally, even in Australia, where there have actually been public health campaigns about this very topic, a survey in 2022 found that awareness was barely over 50%. It was basically a coin flip. So clearly the message is just not getting through. So why does this awareness gap matter so much? Because an estimated 40%, 40, of all cancer cases are linked to lifestyle factors that we can actually control. This isn't all just about bad luck or genetics, it's about the power we have in our own choices. And that really is the whole point of all this. I know hearing that something so common and socially accepted is a carcinogen can feel, well, alarming, but that's not the goal here. This information isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to empower you. Because knowledge gives us the power to make different, more informed choices. So let's just be absolutely crystal clear on what this means for taking back some control.
When you look at all the things we can actually prevent, alcohol is the #1 risk factor for breast cancer. And what that means is that choosing to drink less is one of the single most powerful, most direct actions you can personally take to lower your risk. So, as we see all the pink ribbons this month, let's also think about the information that's missing. Beyond the vital messages about screening and treatment, maybe the most powerful conversation we could be having with ourselves and with the people we love is about this clear scientific link between alcohol and breast cancer. Just think, what could change if everyone knew?